Peace, y'all. This is Empress Coach Renee Nicole, and this is the AM Inspiration Show to wake that ass up consciously, physically, spiritually, physically, emotionally, and financially. But don't forget, soulfully. Period. Okay? Yes. We are here today on Tuesday, November the 29th, 2022, and we are talking about identifying toxic friendships, part 2. Yes. Yesterday, we went in and we had a ball. We talked about how to identify toxic friends, different ways that it would show up in your existence, different ways that they show up in your life, different ways that, you may have some traits that might come off as toxic, even so you can identify that yourself, right? So with that being said, listen to this drop and we're going to go right into the topic, period, okay? Yes, y'all. Yes. So yesterday we had a discussion and we pretty much started out with talking about, well, we went over 8 ways, to identify, but we talked about a lot of other things as well. And we literally talked about how a toxic friendship, it literally can feel draining, exhausting, frustrating, disappointing. You will never feel fulfilled having a toxic friend will never make you feel fulfilled in that way. That a healthy friendship would give you a dynamic like that. And we went over talking about that as well. I don't know if you guys can hear me or anything is frozen on my end. Okay. So definitely keep in mind that whatever you give to a toxic friend, it just will never be enough for them. They're always wanting to receive. They're always wanting to take, and have. And they don't really have any concerns over what you bring to the table, what you have to do in your own existence, because they want to center themselves in your life, right? And that's not a good thing. That's really not a good thing, right? So keep that in mind as you go on in your journey and as we talk about this topic, because toxic friends are extremely manipulative, right? They're very manipulative. They play on your emotions. They play on your mental health. They play on a lot of aspects of your existence where you are not for play, period. Okay? Like, hello? Is this thing on? Let's check. Period. This thing is on and popping. Yes. So just keep that in mind, that you are not obligated, no matter what they tell you, no matter what sob story they tell you, because they got a lot of sob stories, no matter how they show up to make you feel bad, you are not obligated to allow access to anyone that's low vibrational or quote unquote toxic to your life, right? So keep that in mind, because we talked about a few things, and we're going to go over those few things that we talked over yesterday. We're definitely going to identify what a toxic friend is again, because this is part 2. But for those just tuning in that are not really aware of the medical term of what a toxic friend is, we're definitely going to cover that. Okay. So just give me one more second. Getting some people together, and yeah, we're going to be able to, just hey, Time, how you doing? We're going to be able to just do that, and have that vibration go on right now. I'm trying to actually invite people at the same time where I'm talking, but this is more important, so we're going to stick to this. Now, a toxic friend is definitely defined in by medical term that it's literally defined as someone who doesn't have respect, or someone who's, literally siphoning your energy or different things like that, of that nature. But when you think about a toxic friend, in a healthy friendship, both friends tend to respect and support one another mutually. And there's an inherent sense of trust within that relationship that's being built, right? In most cases, both people seek to be loving and generous with their time and their resources, okay? So toxic friends, however, often present as selfish and challenging, they may struggle with healthy communication. They have their struggles, but that's definitely one of their struggles, right? So keep that in mind, okay? That's definitely one of their struggles. And if you're like a person like me that loves to communicate, dealing with toxic people will be extremely frustrating for you, and you just won't have the energy for it, right? Um, they can be extremely aggressive, passive aggressive, or dismissive when they don't get what they desire. And they may also depend on that person for validity and comfort, exhibiting a range of attention seeking behaviors. Now, we did go over attention seeking behaviors, but because this is part 2, we're definitely going to run over these attention seeking behaviors really quickly. And then we're going to jump right into the rest of the, the rest of the identifying factors on how to identify toxic friends. Well, okay. Now, listen, I have so much going on around me today, right? Everyone definitely has their moments, yet toxic friends tend to stir the pot. It's like they bring the pot and they stir that bitch. Hello? Because it's like a regular thing for them. And when you constantly feel agitated, disrespected, or even guilty for spending time with a certain friend, those feelings may be key indicators of a unhealthy dynamic in a fake friend that's in your circle. Like if you're with someone that's really great for you, and you talk, you have these great conversations, and you have a lot of things, that's in common, or just things that, click well together. And you always feel guilty for spending time with them because of what someone else feels. That's not a good look. It's not a good look, period. It's not a good look. Hello. It may be a sad song, but it's definitely not a good look, period. Okay? So let's go over those identifying factors on attention-seeking behaviors in adults, right? So Empress, what is attention-seeking behaviors? Hello? Wait a minute. Hold on. Dun, dun, dun. Now, attention-seeking behaviors are typically identified as extreme and dramatic in methods, right? They are unhealthy and can be indicative of other mental health issues. Longer-term attention-seeking behaviors can ruin friendships and relationships because others may start to feel manipulated, even if the person seeking attention isn't self-aware that they are acting this way, right? They're not a child, but they're still in that childlike mentality where children are extremely selfish. I was, more recently in the last few years, someone told me that I had made a complaint, and it's like, you know what? Having children is like having broke roommates, because you got to give them whatever they want, or they call the cops on you for neglect, right? They're very selfish. They don't care about your needs first. They care about their needs being met first, right? But that's definitely a decision that you make when you have children. That's not a motherfucking decision you need to make when you're making friends. Hello? Period. Definitely not a decision you need to make when having friends, adult friends anyway. Okay. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. So keep that in mind, all right? Keep that in mind, that's not something you have to do, right? So there's definitely a thin line between attention-seeking behavior and craving the normal attention. I know, I cannot sing, right? Hello? No. Listen, I don't know what's going on with my voice, but it's been raspy for a few years now. Don't know. Gonna find out what's going on. Now, attention makes us feel understood, loved, and even acknowledged for what is being validated by the attention, right? Attention-seeking behaviors put others in uncomfortable situations because they may feel obligated to give attention, as opposed to wanting to give genuine attention without being provoked to do so, right? Hello? Listen, let's talk about them attention-seeking behaviors in adults. I know I'm talking fast, guys, but when I'm on here, Without my special guest, it's just me by myself. So let's keep it moving, right? So when you have attention seeking behaviors in adults, it looks different than typically healthy needs for connectivity, right? So literally they will show up causing panic in a meeting or even at the grocery store. Listen, we're not talking about mental health like PTSD or anything. We're talking about people attending seeking attention and stuff like that, right? So then we spoke on yesterday about those friends that come up and they see conflict within the group. Like no matter what you do, no matter who you're with, no matter what's going on, they always have a problem. Period. Like what the hell? I need a moment. Listen. And another thing, like even I was just listening to Wallow 267 before we came on here. And they have a podcast called Mouth for Game. You guys should tune in. It's really good. It's really funny. So he was talking about how people are, we talked about this as well on the podcast in season 1 a whole lot. I think people probably were tired of hearing it. He was talking about how people are living this image-based lifestyle based off of likes, and they're not living these experiences. That's something I'm big on, and I remember someone said, well, your account used to have like 10K on it, you have another account with this amount on it and stuff like that. And now they see that my account, I guess it doesn't do like the numbers they want my account to do. And they literally trying to make me feel like a failure or like I wasn't doing something right when the only thing I'm not doing is marketing, and the important part about that was I had to learn not to take everything personal. It's a book called The 4 Agreements, and it was like, don't take things personal. But I took that shit personal. It hurt my feelings because it made me feel like everything I was doing was in vain, and I should never cared so much what someone else was saying. So what I did was I took a step back, when we had our season finale, and I decided, listen, I'm going to market the same way I used to market before and allow the wind to blow wherever it blows. My intention for having something for self-development for people was never to have like a million people or to just be a person that's popular or just, raise my social standing, and have it like that again. I think other people have this idea behind that, oh, if a million people are not listening to it, it's no value. You know what I'm saying? If a million people are not showing up, it's no value. And that's completely asinine. And it's not true because most things with value don't get a lot of attention. Most things that mean something and that's going to change your life don't get a lot of attention. Hello? This thing on? So another thing they talked about was the ones that fish for compliments, like the friends that fish for compliments, whether it's their new clothes, handbags, whatever. And I think that's subjective as well, but when it's just always that way and there's no substance to them and stuff like that, it can be quite dangerous, But hey, I don't think that makes anyone a bad person. I just said that you get to choose your friends, period. So let's get back into back into the number. So we were on number 8. We're going to start off with number 8 and move on up, right? So I just want to say welcome to Miss Time. Hi, welcome. Thank you for being here. So number 8 was they love when your plans get canceled. Like they love when things happen to you. They love when unfortunate things happen to you. Like say for instance, if you had to go somewhere very special and you were being honored or something like that, and they like at the last minute they decided oh no, there was a mix up and this year we counted the votes wrong and you lost. Your friend would be all over, oh, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Just think about it. You could try harder next time. There are always those people, in public, but when you win, they're never there for you in public. They're never cheering you on in public. And that's when I realized that when I achieved like these accomplishments, it was the closest one to me that was never congratulating me. Never in public, always in private. Always, some people will be like, I want to be the first one to congratulate you, so they'll text you first, and then they'll be all over social media. I have other people like that as well. Like, oh my God, sit your ass down. Thank you though, you know what I mean? Because like you're not doing it for the applause, but you definitely appreciate being appreciated. Hello, that's not something people want to talk about. Definitely appreciate being appreciated. Hello. Yes, we definitely appreciate being appreciated. So if you feel more relief than sadness when you can't spend time with your friend, that's a cause for concern, right? Hello. And generally speaking, you should desire to the connectivity with your friends, because as humans, we are made to connect to other people. You know, if you find yourself dreading upcoming events that they're going to be there, or you're making an excuse as to why you can't attend, it's probably a critical indicator that you're growing wary of the friendship. That's definitely me. You know, I know we talked about passive aggressiveness, and I think that everyone has those quote unquote low vibrational traits. That's definitely me. I'd rather not show up than hurt your feelings. I'd rather not show up than hurt your feelings, you know. I'd rather be like, you know what, something came up, because most of the time I will find something to come up. I don't like lying to people. But if I don't want to go, I'm just like, you know what, I'm just not going to go. You know, I had to learn that being assertive, people are like, oh, that's being masculine. People want to throw all kinds of words around it just because they don't want to accept what the fuck you got to say. Period. Period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. People just want to throw shit on your name because they're shitty people. Hello? Now, being assertive with a so-called friend when they're getting on your last damn nerve, and you tell them, hey, listen here, sis or bro, I don't want to go. Why? Because you annoy me. You don't know how to behave yourself. You're inappropriate. You don't have to say it like that, though. You can say, you know what? I noticed that when we go out, I don't have a good time with you. What does that mean? I don't know what it is. I just don't want to do it again. Because I like when I go out, it's like time that I get to go, you know, I put to the side for me to enjoy myself. And when I'm out with you, I leave feeling drained. I leave feeling tired. I leave feeling stressed out. And it's just not a good look for me. Right. You can say it however you want to say it, but listen, I'm very straightforward. So just is what it is. Just is what it is, right? Now, the next one definitely is you often withhold telling them your real truth. That's crazy. You know, that's that passive aggressiveness though. Like when you're in toxic friendships, you may already be pulling back without realizing it, because this happens when you don't feel safe with another person, right? When you don't feel safe with people, you don't trust them. When you don't trust them, you don't reveal things. You know, or you could be like, you know, more so like me. Like me, I reveal shit that's already out there. I don't never necessarily reveal my personals. Like I don't reveal my deep secrets or things that people don't know about me already. You know, it's just how it is, you know. And I feel like if I have anyone in my existence that I'm sharing these deep personal things with, and it's like you're almost giving them an arsenal to betray you, because they can definitely use it against you whenever they feel like it. Period. Right. So that pattern can be frustrating. That toxic friend may not have even noticed it because they're not self-aware, and they will continue using that time to talk or focus on themselves. Like they want to center themselves around. Like if you tell them something's going on and you know you don't really trust them, or they made you made you feel betrayed in trust, and they just censor it, or they just gaslight, you know, and make it you know, twist it back onto you. The flip flop, the ultimate flip flop is what they do. Hello, and we're not talking about the flip flop show. Now, another thing that see, and this is where we the water start getting a little murky here. The mud start coming in, you start putting your feet in, and the water start getting murky because you keep lying or covering up for them is number 10, right? So, and the thing about that is because other people can raise concerns about your friend's problematic behavior, and they pulled you aside to express their worry or frustration about certain situations, and your knee-jerk response is to justify them. Okay, that's a sign that you're being abused. You're being manipulated because you're justifying their behavior. I remember I had this one girlfriend, we was planning this amazing thing for women, and we called the sister on a 3-way, and she was so rude and nasty to me, and I just was like, okay, all right. And she's like, all right, y'all, I'm gonna go. So she hung up the phone, and no, we didn't hang up. The sister was like, well, one, why is you talking to Nicole like that? And I was like, no, it's okay. That's just, you know, that's just how she is. And she was like, that's just how she is. And she decided that she did not want to do any work with me because I allowed someone to treat me like that. And I didn't understand that for a long time, you know, but this girl, like, she's in medical school. She's about to be a doctor. And she don't want to have people around her that can't stand up for themselves, you know. And the girl, like, we stopped talking to each other, not because of that, but, you know, we just decided not to do that project together, you know, and I like not to work together fully, just that one project with the other person. But I didn't understand that I was justifying someone's abuse to me. And she couldn't stand for that. She's like, how could you be such a powerful person and inspire so many women all the time? And you sit around, and you let somebody sit there and talk to you like that, or talk down on you like that, or just like, crush everything that you're saying. And you just respond with, okay. And that was me back in my passive aggressive days. That was a long time ago, but I was extremely passive aggressive. Like, yeah, okay, I just want to keep the peace. All right. How do you think? What do you think? And that didn't get me anywhere except for heartbreak, broken promises, and just like a bunch of frustration from a bunch of users. Right? Hello. So with that being said, I know firsthand how it feels to justify abuse. I know how it feels to justify abuse of friends. I know how it feels because people look at you like you're an idiot. They're like, oh, well, this person is doing this to you clearly, and you're still around them. You're still allowing access to yourself, right? You're still allowing access to yourself, and you're actually justifying their behavior with these crazy behind excuses, right? And literally without your own self-awareness, because it's the lack of your own self-awareness that you are enabling them to be extremely toxic. Hello? One more time. Even unbeknownst to you, you are enabling them to be toxic. Now, I done said it 10,000 times. The next one is you feel trapped or obligated to be their friend. That's some bullshit. I remember, like I said, my passive aggressive days, I used to feel like, oh, I got to stick with this person going through something. I need to be there for them. And I'm like, listen, I be in my head like, who the fuck be there for me? Who will be there for me? Nobody. There's a lot of shit to go through by myself. And I'm not saying that that's the reason to disconnect from people, but I'm saying if they're being toxic and nothing is being conducive to growth in that relationship, then if you want to moonwalk your ass out that relationship, period. Hello? Listen, there's no reason for you to allow them to use emotional abuse tactics to maintain relationships with you. Emotionally abusive relationships often feel chaotic and frightening. You feel like, oh, if I leave this person, they're going to do something to themselves, self-harm, or they're not going to have anyone. I'm the only person that supports them because they always tell me that. Again, we went over that yesterday. That's a tactic to keep you there. They tell you you're the best person that supports them. You're their best friend. You're their only friend. And that's just dangerous. It's just completely dangerous when it's a toxic person saying these things to you just to keep you there. People are going to say these things, your friends, and they're going to mean it because they love you and they support you and it's mutual. A toxic person doesn't really support you. They want you to support them. Hello? Keep that in mind, right? Let's talk about some chronic emotional abuse signs in a friendship, right? So we're definitely going to go into that right now. Literally them making jokes or threats about hurting themselves if you wasn't around. Literally, because I just said that, sometimes I give up the goose before the gander, right? Hello. And putting you down often and then making you believe you're overreacting. We talked about, oh my goodness, this. That's one of my pet peeves. And this is the reason why you won't catch me on dropping audio as much anymore, because on the stages, like sharing my thoughts and stuff, unless it's my own space or like people that I trust space, because I feel like a lot of spaces do that. When they say something and you respond to it, they tell you you're overreacting or you're like you're being sensitive, using it as an excuse for them to say whatever the fuck they want to say to you. Hello? Period. That's problematic. That's really problematic. And I think that a lot of people need to recognize, hey, welcome y'all. So let me stop here. As a matter of fact, I've been going on and on and on to the break of dawn. Been talking about toxic friendships. I know y'all been listening, and I'm sorry I just got back to you. But welcome everybody. Introduce yourself and chime in on what you think that we've just been discussing. Hey y'all.
Good morning, Empress, Sierra, everybody. I've definitely experienced some of these toxic traits in friendships, and it's actually very stressful. Mm-hmm.
That was the end of it. Now let me stop playing. What's up, Todd?
Yeah.
Like, what's up, though? Like, I know you got some things you want to share. Like, any like quick story you want to share? Anything, Sierra? How you doing? Great rising to both of y'all. Yeah.
These people, I definitely have had someone who's like that, and I think it's key to recognize the fact that it's not reciprocal. I had somebody like be a toxic friend to me for the better part of 10 years at least. That's just one example. And this person, they did say stuff like, you're my only friend, or you're one of my only two friends. And they were just, it was constant. They wouldn't respect my boundaries. They continued to not get help for something that was really obviously not being resolved. I think 10 years is enough. I think 5 years is enough. I'm not trying to say if you don't do the certain things to get you to where you need to be, you can spend your whole life stuck on something. And I'm not trying to judge some person, but I mean all the suggestions I could make. And I mean, after a certain point, it becomes, you know, they start to become a plague or a toxin in your own life. And also just the disrespect, lack of reciprocation. It just wasn't fun anymore. It wasn't, a lot of our interaction was just toxic. It was very disrespectful. Like I said, boundary violations, lack of support, lack of reciprocation, attacks, people who are like in bad condition, they can rub off on you. Their energy is not so great. So you pour into them, it's never enough. It's a black hole. So yeah, it's not a real good experience. And at some point when you try to, have someone, you communicate your boundaries, they don't respect them, then you have to take steps to make sure your boundaries are respected. If that means cutting that relationship off. So yeah, that's all I'll say. I won't go into some long 3 hour rant about the situation, but I
You know
had to
I'm
like
gonna hit you
end
with
that.
that. You know I'm gonna hit you with the button if you try to. Come on, come
No,
on.
I'll definitely push the button.
Listen, ain't that how they do people on award shows? No. All right. Well. Anyway, so I'm just happy. Thank you for sharing that. I'm Thank you for sharing that. I think it's important to recognize when it's just too much, when people are doing too much, when people are doing too much, and it's just, you're at a point where it's like, okay, this is just not for me. I don't know about 5 years or nothing like that, but I think that everybody has their own timeline when it comes to friendships and how they receive things, how they perceive things. So that's extremely important. Like I said, my pet peeve is definitely the people that gaslight others and say that they're being too sensitive, because I feel like it's so let somebody invalidate them, let someone invalidate them, and it's going to be like World War III. Everything's going to come falling down. Nobody's going to be appreciative, and they're just going to be a victim. Period. Plain blank. Period. They're going to be a victim of circumstances that they're creating. Yeah, I'm sorry. I have an unruly child right now. It's like they act like they don't know I'm on this thing today. Excuse me. So literally, another thing that you had to look out for the emotional abusive thing is they act differently. Like in public, they're so nice and sweet and kind. Behind closed doors, they're very abusive. You know, listen, and that could fall in line with relationship. But we were doing relationships next week. We're doing relationships next week because that definitely fall in line with toxic relationship traits as well. But we do have a toxic relationship already up, a podcast from last season. Like I said yesterday, check it out, toxic relationship and friendships, where some of this information is already there. If you want to jump ahead of the game, if you tune in tomorrow, then you'll be ahead of the game and you'll have some information to join us in the conversation. Period. Now, when people act different between who they are in private and public, that's a sign that's not a good sign. That's just not a good sign. You need to watch out for your well-being. You need to watch out for your personal safety, because if they can do that in private to you, then what else can they do in private to you? Friend or not. Keep that in mind. Friend or not. Everybody deserves respect, and respect is the bare minimum. Respect is the bare minimum. Okay? Loyalty, trust, all that shit is the bare minimum. So they're not showing up like that, then don't be bothered. But I can't tell you what to do. I can only suggest and put out there the information that you need to know. Period. Okay? Now, consistently shifting the blame to make it seem like you have the problem. Like we just talked about, the gaslighting. Some people will never be accountable because they have people surrounding them that don't make them do that. They may have them parents, they may be like latchkey kids, them parents that never, like, their kids can't do nothing wrong, and they grow up and they turn into freaking narcs, and nothing that they do, they feel like they had to be responsible for. These are the friends where you end up apologizing to them for shit you didn't even do. Hello? And then you have those other idiotic friends that test your loyalty and your devotion. They set you up. They put you on three-way calls. They do. Why do you need this in your life? We are grown-ups. No grown-up should have to live their life like that. No grown-up should have to live their life like that. Unless you like the drama, then go right ahead. But if you're grown ass want to live like that, you're gonna have to give me a moment. Man, moment's over. Wow. Listen, because it's just like it's just unbelievable, and it's like that's where self awareness comes in. Because some people don't even realize that they're in a toxic friendship, and I think Miss Time said something. Yeah, because literally we all have toxic traits as humans. Yes, we do. We all have toxic traits, but when you have nothing but projection of toxicity or low vibrations, then how can you develop anything sustainable? So that's the question that you need to ask. Like you have to ask yourself, like, how can I develop anything sustainable and everything I'm projecting out is this way, right? So, number 12 is you feel like you're in competition with them. Genuine friends are happy for each other. They revel and celebrate each other's successes. Even if some jealousy emerges, I don't really believe in being jealous of my fucking friends. I feel like the jealousy is just means implies somebody has something you don't. But I know this may seem a little conceited. I don't feel like nobody has anything I want. Hello? Just like what? Hello? So how can you be jealous of anyone when people don't have what you want? I feel like that the things that I desire, are based off my own principles, my morals, my likes, my interests. And it's nobody like you in the whole wide world. It's only one you. People may have commonalities in that, but there's nobody like you. It's only one you. Period. And that definitely it coincides with those feelings of like contentment, being proud, and excited for your friend's good fortune. That's important. Toxic friends tend to make it seem like everything is a game. Um, this is especially true if your toxic friend is your coworker. They'll present as wanting you to win, and they'll like you put you down behind your back, even subliminally. I know I talk way too fast for that word. Subliminally. I got it. Directly or subliminally. Got it. When you obtain something that they desire, right? They always want to be in competition with you. I had a neighbor. She wasn't really my friend. I guess she was a friend of me when I was married. And my ex-husband bought the children like a 3-foot pool, one of those big giant pools. And it was huge. And we like put like the bamboo in the backyard. We put like a little koi pine. We had our frogs out there. And what she did was she went out and bought like a little tiny pool and had like little palm trees and little sliding boards for like little tiny toddlers. So that my children did not get a chance to enjoy their pool because what they did was they would swim over with their floaties and look over at the fence at her kids the whole time, watching them play. Everything with her was a competition. We had like the beautiful plants out front, the edible plants, everything, our swing set. So what she did was went out and get pallets and put up against our fence and put like all plants in there, fruits, vegetables, and herbs and everything, and the chairs and everything to make her stuff look pretty too. Nothing was ever wow, that's beautiful, that's nice, can we come over? Everything was always a competition with her, and I just was like, because the neighbors didn't understand why we fought so much. They're like, why do y'all fight so much? Like, because how could she always be like, when y'all are around, other people are around, she acts so nice to me. She want to be outside at nighttime when the children are sleeping, drinking wine glasses with everybody else. And when nobody's around, it's like it's always a competition with her. You know what I mean? So it's just I couldn't vibe with that. Could not vibe with that at all. Like my husband not around, you are so ignorant and racist. And it's like, but when I'm like when we are all together, everybody's on the block. Everybody's sitting here. At nighttime, we're all have our wine glasses and relaxing and joking. You're just the funniest person ever. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to our kids, it's like a competition. I just don't understand that. I didn't understand it either because I had 2 boys and she had 2 girls. So, well, she had 1 girl at the time we first got there, but it just didn't make sense to me. It's like it's a completely different thing, right? And the last but not least, that was just an example I gave y'all. So because I give examples, right? Not to make it about me or to center myself. I give examples so people can gauge stories in their existence. Like, oh, you know what? I might have a situation. I might have a person like that where, when we're all around everybody else, they're so sweet and genuine. But when it's by ourselves, it's like, oh, I'm like, yo, I just completed this course. I got my certification. Now I'm making $78,000 a year. They're like, oh, okay. You sure that's what you really want to do? Instead of saying congratulations. Instead of saying that's what's up, sis. Period. Instead of them saying that, they're like, damn, bro. You sure that's what you really want to do, man? Like, yeah. But you know what I mean, right? I try to switch my voice up. I know that was funny as shit. Sorry. But just to gauge stories. So I try to share little stories with y'all. You know what I'm saying? Share some stories with y'all so y'all can gauge your own stories in your existence, right? And I love to story tell. Like I love to share stories, right? So the last but not least is definitely feeling completely drained. Hello? How are your other relationships right now in your existence? This is how you gauge. Reevaluate. If you don't want to use the word gauge, you use reevaluation. You have to reevaluate relationships in your life every 1 to 3 months. I do it every 1 to 3 months. I used to do it every 6 months until I realized that 6 months is too goddamn long to be having people in my life that was wasting my time. It was just too long. I gauge after 30 days to see, hey, has this person changed? Hey, what had changed about me having them in my life? You know, um, just different things. It's just little different things. And that's probably why I don't have 1,000 friends, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. I like peace. I enjoy peace, and I'm okay with that, right? So ask yourself these questions: how are your other relationships looking? I wouldn't say compare. I would just say evaluate. So if you have other relationships in your life that's growing, what are you doing differently here where you feel like it's not growing, right? So try to implement some of those things, if you desire to, or just move on from it. Up to you, right? Do you feel emotionally exhausted? If you feel emotionally exhausted, that's it. To me, for me, to me, that's a non-negotiable. That's it. I will not be emotionally drained in a relationship with anybody. You know, I know that that's a real hard behind statement to say, but some people want to have you that way so you can be vulnerable and weak for them. Keep that in mind, right? Um, and if you feel those ways, right, you feel like you have nothing left to give. You feel like you gave everything that you had to someone, and they just didn't appreciate you for it. You may be experiencing a sense of relationship burnout. We're going to go more into that next week, though. So sorry. Dun, dun, dun. We're going to go definitely into relationship burnout next week. So, toxic friendships can undoubtedly take a toll on your well being because you spend so much time trying to please them or to read their goddamn mind. It can take you away from other relationships or activities that are important to you. So ask yourself, is it worth my energy? Period. If you feel like it's worth your energy, if you feel like you've been through worse, then go right ahead with the self-effacing behaviors. Go right ahead with the abuse until you get tired. And when you get tired, hit me up because I got that knowledge for you. And we're gonna gain that knowledge together. And we're going, practice make perfect, and we're gonna persevere through it. With that being said, I just want to say thank y'all for coming out. I know I went over time. Thank y'all for coming out. This has been the AM Inspiration Show to wake that ass up, streaming live on all networks. Today the topic was in the conclusion of identifying toxic friendships. Okay, so with that being said, we are going to check y'all out tomorrow. If you're looking on how to contact us, how to get to us, hit us up on Divine Intervention Shows with an s@gmail.com, readingnicole.com/podcast. Hello. iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon, Audible, iHeartRadio, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Clubhouse, Spoon, oh my God, Twitter, Divine Intervention Shows. That's the network that we're on, the AM Inspiration Show. We're under Divine Intervention Show. If you're wondering, well, it's like 3 of them. It is 3 of them. I just noticed that too. Look for the blue yin and yang logo. With that being said, check you out tomorrow. Peace, y'all.